Right, here we go then. So, bay parking today. So we're going into a car park and we're going to practice reversing ourselves into a space or potentially driving forwards into a space. Because on your test they can do either version of that. Now, when it comes to reversing in a space, you'll tend to find that the examiners will only ever do it at the test centre, so they won't go into Tesco's of the world and make you reverse it. But when you go out on the roads, they could get you into a pub car park or a Tesco's of the world and ask you to drive forwards into a space. So those are the skills we're going to practice today. Now, the general way of doing a reverse part manoeuvre is to get yourself out of the bay and into a square position level with a space. You can actually do it at 45-degree angle, but not all the examiners accept that, so that's why I'm not going to teach you that version today. So to do it, we can go either out of the bay and reverse into the left, or we can go out of the bay to the right and reverse back into the right. So it's either side of the car we could end up going into the spaces. The first thing I'd like you to do is make sure that when you come out of the space that you give yourself enough width to do this. Ideally, we want a whole car's gap between us and the vehicles that we're going to, or the bays that we're going to reverse into. And the best way to do that is, as you come out the bay, once you've done your safety checks, is drive forwards and don't turn the wheel until your shoulders come out of the space. So when you feel like your shoulders have reached the end of the line, then you steer full lock and you'll end up that nice distance from the bays. Square the wheel back up, keep yourself nice and square to the bays, and get yourself into reverse straight away, as usual for any manoeuvre. Once we've done our POM routine and we're looking backwards, I just want you to go back in a straight line and find a reference point that works for you. Now, the majority of people that I teach tend to like the idea of looking across from the door where they're at, so they're facing on, if they're doing the left-hand version, and looking for one of these white lines to actually appear in the middle of the door. And if you find that spot, I'd like you to stop to help the accuracy. But it also means that you can then see if there's anything else going to be in the way, because again, just like all that parallel parking, as the back comes in, the front's going to swing out. So we need to know it's safe. But once you do decide to go, keep your speed down to the minimum, and again, turn the wheel full lock like you did on the turn in the road. That should take you into the third space back from the line that you pick. So if we pick this very top line in the picture, you'll go 1 space, 2 space, 3 spaces back, and that's where you'll end up. Keep the car going really smoothly and slowly. Keep looking for the work of coming into the bay safely. But as you're almost in, I want you to work out from the mirrors if you can actually see the white lines. And if you know that you're going to be between the lines, just straighten up when you look straight. If you're not in the bay, there's ways you can manoeuvre it, which I'll teach you, as I say, when we get to do it for real. But basically, we create angles to get the car going in. And once we're in the car, once we're in the bay completely, make sure you know where the back of the car's going, so we don't hit a wall or a brick curb or anything else. So we need to be looking, just like the turn in the road, on the right hand side for where the bay ends, by looking for that reference point. Same goes for the right hand version. You come out with your shoulders, come round to the right, but this time you're looking on your door for the middle of the window, and once it's in that spot, still stop, still check your blind spots, make sure it's safe to turn the wheel full lock. So those are the ways that I'm going to teach you to do a reverse park. Going forwards into a bay, so let's imagine we've gone onto a pub car park and you're coming with the bays on your left hand side. All we try and do is give ourselves as much width as we can away from the bays, if it's safe to do so, and that allows you more time to see where the two lines are that you're going to go round. But this time we use the same reference point that we use for the end of the road. So you imagine the white line coming underneath your mirror, and when that happens, you just turn the wheel full lock. It will feel like that car in the picture that you're going into the bay above it a little bit. So that's why you've got to be careful that you do this slowly if there is a vehicle around you. But once you're coming into the bay, hopefully you'll tell again from the mirrors if you're going to be in the bay properly. And again, all we've got to do is stop before we hit the front of the car into something. Now, these manoeuvres are correctable. So you won't fail your test if you have to reverse out or drive out of the bay, depending which way you've gone, and correct it. The best method I can teach you is not to start the manoeuvre again though, is just to reverse out or drive forwards in a straight line, because that way then you can actually see the two white lines in your mirrors if you go far enough out. And once you get to that situation, hopefully you can have a nice easy life just going to the bay. You will get a minor driving fault for that, but you will not fail your test as long as you do the observations. So remember my rule, if you don't look, you don't pass. So, are you ready to have a go?